Hello, welcome to the Nielsen Ratings 2026, episode 111 or 111. Apparently YouTube's demonetizing some people for not being on camera. Maybe it's an AI thing, I don't know. So here I am, but I'm going off again. All right, so mainly because I've got my massive reading glasses on and they're hugely entertaining and don't look particularly good on me. So thank you to people that are tuning in already. Good to see Aaron and Keith here. I've got a couple of my regulars here. I'm not sure where Enzo is this evening. I wasn't told that he wasn't coming on, so hopefully he will turn up in just a little bit. But first of all, let me bring in two of my other regular guests. First of all, we have my distant cousin. Anna's in the house.
Hey.
How are you?
Sorry about my voice. It'll be a little weird.
Oh, have you got a like a chesty, throaty thing going on?
It's the season.
Oh, is it a hay fever thing?
No. It just is the season for people to be getting colds.
Oh, so. I see. Okay. Yeah. Well, this time last year, I was still very much down with the chest infection that would last me all the way until the first week of May. So
yes, yeah. Happy 11th, as Aaron says.
Yeah, I'm fortunately
11 years old. You've barely aged a day.
Fortunately, I managed not to be ill this year, so I'm very pleased about that. We've got Admiral Teague is in the house as well, and you're currently muted, sir. Just to let you know.
So, I usually stay muted, but I'm not speaking.
Okay, 11 first.
I apologize for my voice too. There's nothing wrong with me. I just have an uneducated American accent.
That's just your normal voice, as we know.
Sound kind of dumb.
Well, educated or not, everyone's welcome on this channel. So, education of life is the most valuable tool, in my opinion. I believe Blue Collar Loser is going to be popping in for a little bit. He certainly said he was earlier. So, but we don't have Critical today, who currently has a horrendous migraine. So the King of the Spiders will not be joining us this evening. Possibly Enzo will be along later. But regardless, we've got a few things to get through. And one of the first things I want to talk about is The Last Bus with Matthew McConaughey. First of all, I'm a bit of a McConaughey fan. Secondly, I'm a true story drama fan. Thirdly, I followed this story of the 2018 California state fires in and around the hills of Los Angeles, the fire that destroyed the town of Paradise, effectively, on the news, on pretty much because it got major news. It got major coverage in the UK. Northern English Bastard, you made it. Welcome, sir.
Yeah, I was trying to watch this earlier this morning. I caught a little bit, but not enough, unfortunately. And it does look very compelling. Hey, Teague. Hey, Anna. How you doing?
Hey.
Yeah, well, don't worry, mate. We'll be talking about stuff you have seen. So we'll cover this one first. So The Lost Bus is a true story. How true it is to the events, I haven't quite been able to determine. I have done a bit of digging. But one of the interesting things is that, Anna, you were there in LA when this was all happening. Is that right?
So, quick thing, this is actually not LA. This is in Northern California. This is Butte County. The more recent fires were in LA that were really, really bad. The Palisades fire. There are several fires out
That's
there.
right.
But the Camp Fire was Butte County. And yes, I was living at the time in the Bay Area. And I sent you some photos of the smoke that we got, which was it covered the whole state.
Can you share those on here rather than me put up sort of Facebook stuff?
I can't share. Sorry.
Oh, you can't. Okay, let me. I'll grab one of them then.
But yes, it was very. as is covered a little bit in the film, it's kind of the there's a power company that has basically a monopoly on the state of California, PG&E, Pacific Gas and Electric, and they've been saying for 30 years or more that they're going to put a lot of their power lines underground because they have a problem where when high winds, which happen every year around the season, they tend to break their lines, and the lines would spark in remote areas and cause massive, devastating fires. And in this case, once again, it was PG&E's failure to do anything to update their infrastructure whatsoever because they were using all of their money for other stuff, not to get too political. And so there was a big lawsuit with regards to the 2018 Camp Fire, and I think PG&E actually got, they had to take responsibility. So yes, I took this photo normally, on a normal day from that view. This is around 2 p.m. You can hike up this hill and you can see you can see to the Golden Gate Bridge, you can see the San Francisco Bay. You can't see a thing. And red color is from, the smoke was so heavy and was high in the atmosphere as well as low that there's a phenomenon called Mie scattering, where sunlight can't come through, and the same, like the colors that generally come through the same wavelength can't come through, and so only red light gets through, making everything very, very, very red. And it was like being on Mars for a few days. I was rereading The Martian at the time, so it felt relevant.
Very appropriate somehow.
Anyway, sorry, what were your thoughts on the film?
I thought the film was fantastic. I watched it with a friend who happened to have Apple TV, so they were like, "Hey, should we watch a movie tonight?" And I was like, "Yeah, you've got an Apple TV account. I don't. Let's have a look and see what's on." And I remembered that this was being talked about when it had gone into production. And I knew about the story of the lost bus because it made the press. I think it got mentioned on News 24 or something like that over here. For anybody who doesn't know, a school bus driver who is kind of on his way back to the depot to bring the bus in for maintenance, here's the call out to go and pick up some children from a school which is now being threatened by the fire, and his job is to drop them off at another school where their parents will collect them. But so he volunteers to do this despite having some personal issues that he needs to sort out, and he dashes to the school and then has to go through all kinds of problems, both traffic and fire related and human related, to get the bus to the I think it's called a primary school, where he's going to drop the kids off. When they get there, that school is already on fire and it has been abandoned. The radio network is down. So for a while, no one knew where this bus was. They got trapped in a canyon with fire on all sides, and ultimately they just had to sort of barrel through. Incredible act of bravery by the driver and also the teacher that was with him. Those two leads are played by Matthew McConaughey and America Ferrera, with an able cast of children alongside them, including Matthew McConaughey's own son, who's also in the film and auditioned for a part under a different name so that there was no bias given from the casting director, which I thought was interesting. The fire effects in the film are extremely well done. It's intercut with quite a lot of real footage from the event itself, but I would have actually quite happily seen this at the cinema. This is a movie I probably would have gone to see. It's also directed by Paul Greengrass, who's one of my favourite directors. He's done several true story films of this nature, including The Murder of Stephen Lawrence, United 93. He also did the first of, I think this is the first or the second of the Bourne movies. He's a very, very capable director. So yeah, I mean, I was duly impressed. I thought it was really good. The practical effects feel very real. Obviously there is CG in it, but it's quite difficult to tell where the CG begins and the practical ends and vice versa. So yeah, I highly recommend the film to people, especially if you like your true story dramas. Anna, what did you think of it, especially as you were there?
I was not in paradise, and so I wasn't surrounded by fire or anything like that. We just had smoke around us and ash raining down on us for a long, long time, and we were getting updates about what was happening. but I thought this film was very, very good from a filmmaking point of view. It looks fantastic. I thought the children actors, all of the child actors were good and believable, and made like they felt like children would be taking a situation like this seriously and not messing around. And so it felt like children who are taking this seriously, who are also trying to hold their own fears in check, but also trying to, they're kids. They can't be as as stoic as the adults are trying to be. And all of the performances together, I thought America Ferrera's character, and what was her name, the teacher,
I forget.
And Matthew McConaughey's Kevin, where I thought they were really good together as trying to present a brave front for the kids for as long as they could. So yeah, fantastic stuff. It had a really limited release even here in the US. It's an Apple TV movie, and a lot of them do. But I quite liked it. And again, especially I do remember, and I had gone out to Paradise a few months before in like September, and this was in November. I'd gone out to one of these rural elementary schools. I know it was a middle school. I'd been invited with another archaeologist to give an archaeology presentation, and been, it was a lovely drive up there, about an hour and a half north of where I was, out in, the redwood and pine forests. And I was thinking of that the whole time this was going on, because I'd been up there just a couple months before the fire came and devastated the whole area.
Yeah. I'm funny enough, I'm just going to go and have a look at the town of Paradise.
Oh, yeah. You're gonna pull up Google Earth?
Yeah, I just wondered to what degree it's been rebuilt and that kind of thing. I did look at the Palisades actually when the week after that happened on Google Earth, and my God, it's sort of like just one section which all the houses have gone right down to the water, right down to the ocean. You would have thought the ones at the ocean would have been safe. So this is basically, you can see a lot of empty plots here, right? And I'm guessing wherever there was an empty plot here, there probably used to be a house. Because there's a lot of empty, like here, for example, this section here, we can see there's a whole load of houses missing. And so this happened in 2018, so some of it would have been rebuilt by now.
But you can see this area used to be a lot more heavily forested as well, even though this is a developed area and there's streets and plots.
Yeah. Well, look here. You can see there were houses here.
Yep.
They've all gone. That's crazy.
This is actually a few people from our archaeology department were recruited in this case, because archaeologists have the skills to go through the remains of a burned house, after it's fallen down, to dig things out to try and find fireproof safes or recover any, valuables that may have survived the fire. And so quite a few archaeologists went up to help people out in Paradise and the surrounding areas to see during the salvage efforts.
Right. Yeah, you can see there's huge swaths of it that have been affected. You can clearly see where properties used to be. Some have survived, some haven't. Especially in the north, in the north part of the town there, very heavily.
And fires just random, it'll jump streets or jump houses or go around different areas. And so you can see places where trees have survived, but you can tell it was a lot more densely forested and housed. And houses catch fire more easily than trees do. Anyway,
something that's really weird about the Palisades fire, when you look at it, is you go on the map and have a look, is there's like almost no houses left at all, but on the odd street there's one, like on a corner somewhere, where every single house around it, in not just either side of it and stuff, but in all the adjacent roads as well, have all just gone. But this one house, for whatever reason, is still there. Whether someone stayed to defend it or, who knows. But it's. But
that's got to be just luck, because when the fire is that size, there is nothing. There is no defense. No one standing there with a wet towel or a fire hose. There is nothing you can do. It will pass some people by and leave their houses completely untouched.
Well, I thought the skill of this film was you really felt like you were on that bus. You really felt like you were there. You felt the heat. And so, yeah, I thought it was good. I think Admiral Teague, I think you've seen it as well. Let us know.
Yes, I absolutely have. It was a good movie. I did enjoy the fire effects for a couple of minutes there. When they really indulged it, I thought they did a very good job of making the fire look alive. And even though it was a long time ago, it sort of like reminded me of the fire and the menacing nature that they used it for in, of all movies, Independence Day, right, where it builds the mystery. They did a good job of making the fire seem adversarial. They gave him good personal stakes. Matthew McConaughey has put in, many a good performance, workman-like job. He was prepared for this role. He only spent his whole life playing an everyman. I bet you he wishes he was back in that Lincoln where he had a better job. But this was, he wasn't exactly Han Solo. It was a story of ordinary people put in extraordinary circumstances who rose to show valor, beyond the calling of an underpaid school bus driver or teacher, right?
Yeah.
He's scraping by. He's looking for extra school bus runs, and he's got to take care of the bus himself and all this other pressure.
And he's dealing with a divorce. He's got an ill kid at home and
sick parent, dying dog. They throw the kitchen sink at us in the beginning, but it's a good movie.
Yeah, it is good. Northern, I think you've just seen a little bit of it, right?
Yeah, it did sound very compelling. I mean, it's got a very good, a guy trying to be a very good father figure to his kid as well, and he's struggling, and it doesn't look like they're trying to make him a weak guy as well, just a very strong, competent guy as well, just trying to do his best despite his flaws. But I really need to watch the full movie to really give an honest opinion on it, because I did get a chance to watch Send Help, but now I'm starting to think I should have watched The Lost Bus first.
Well, that's okay.
What brought this on, Lance, wanting to watch this film? Because it came out sometime last year, I think.
Yeah, no, it's past us by.
I remember hearing about it, but of course I don't have an Apple account, so it wasn't sort of on any of the channels I've got. I've got Disney, I've got Amazon, and I've got Netflix. And as you say, there wasn't a big furore about it, which is a bit of a shame. And then I was around my friend's house. She's got an Apple account, and let's watch a movie. And I said, okay, let's see what's on Apple then, because there'll probably be something I haven't seen. And as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this film, I want to see this. And she'd actually just, watched it, but she liked it so much. She was quite happy. She was quite happy to watch it again. Yeah. So I was pleased that I got to see it, and it was great.
I looked up what happened as far as the aftermath of the fire. California has a couple of fires going at any given time, so anybody can be forgiven for mistaking one for the other. But I do remember the Camp Fire. The ironic name to begin with makes it memorable. But if I got the text at the end of the movie right, because the movie ends with them showing the devastation, and there's some text on screen. It says $16 billion paid by the utility company for 87 counts of involuntary manslaughter. So they killed the mass casualty stuff, and how very seriously they took it when they pulled the plug on firefighting to life-saving, all things that get called into question. So quite a loss of life, especially in America. This is unheard of.
Yeah. It was
and for PG&E to have their feet held to the fire for this sort of thing for once was unusual.
It's unusual the world over. It's what we call corporate manslaughter in the UK, and companies will do absolutely everything to get out of it. The fact that I guess they knew they were caught bang to rights, and if they'd gone to court and then they'd lost, they probably would have been effectively liquidating themselves, because I think the judicial system really would have gone after them. So it was good that they did the right thing. I'm sure that they didn't do the right thing without their arm being severely twisted, but nevertheless, the outcome was
because they're a utility. State governments have a lot more direct control and oversight in there.
Right,
and there's state inspectors in any given facility here in New York, one of my friends has been with Con Edison, our utility, for a long time. We've never burned down a whole city here, so by mistake here. So, good luck for us so far. But he did areas like Times Square, and I saw, the kind of stress he had to do, and I'd meet him like for lunch or something, and his office looked like the bridge of the Enterprise. And until recently, they were still running it out of Pearl Street, the first electrified street in the world.
So ratings out of 10, I've got to give it a 9. Thought it did everything it said on the tin and more. Really rated McConaughey's performance. He's got the everyman down to a T. You do feel like you're just watching a regular Joe. It was also that he went to great lengths to kind of, I don't know what the term is, to de-beautify himself, shall we say, and give himself the beard and the sweaty look and grime and dirt, and you felt like you were watching a guy who hadn't taken a shower for about 5 days. So yeah, definitely a 9 out of 10 from me for this one. Really liked it. Highly recommend it, especially to anyone who likes true story dramas. What about yourselves?
I thought this was maybe I thought this was about a 7. I was compelled and moved along. I didn't realize it was a true story until I saw the text at the end. Might have helped it a little bit. I thought that the special effects really were incredible. And Oscar
worthy.
Yes, absolutely. And I recognized Greenglass's name. It was well directed. There were a lot of beautifully framed shots, a lot of beautifully framed mountainsides, and sort of the scenic part of America that makes it so beautiful out on the Pacific Northwest, I believe, where this fire took place. And, Hollywood's right there, so they're on location more or less. It was an effective, I'm guessing, swap. I think
the majority of it was actually filmed in Arizona, if I remember rightly.
Interesting.
Yes, that's what I've got as well. It's really expensive to film in California. You don't do it if you can avoid it.
Yeah, they make sense to me. I've heard these kind of complaints before, but it was a massive fire, and like I said, for this to happen in America, unprecedented. I like that they focused on the small, relatable heroes. I mean, he wasn't exactly Han Solo with a Millennium Falcon. We've got a guy with a school bus. Okay, it's a normal-sized school bus, but it's a good movie.
This is the impact of the fire in LA, and you can see here. I mean, this is the Palisades.
10% of their city.
Literally. Everything you can see there's the odd building. In fact, some of these you can see are being constructed, so actually these are all new constructions, but when I first looked at this, I think there was I counted like 2 buildings in the whole of this section of the map that survived. Literally nothing did. There's some other sections further up above this as well, and then it went right down to the ocean, where of course the winds are strong, blew across here. So there's a whole load of sections here as well, all completely burnt out. Again, there's a couple of houses now being rebuilt. This section here survived, these houses along here, but the houses either side of them all completely destroyed. And then it went all the way down to the ocean front, and then along the ocean front there was a couple of buildings that were on the actual seafront that all got destroyed as well. See some of these all got destroyed. All of these along here, this villa amazingly survived, and
that's
then
where Tony Stark lives, right?
I guess. And then
there's put the shields up.
Yeah, I think there was a few others as well. But yeah, I mean, just the severe devastation that it did was quite horrific. There's a whole load more here that went as well. Look, all of these, all gone. So I mean, insurance for this now must be astronomical. The cost.
They've all been cleared. If you look, there's no debris and no blackened rubble. They've all been cleared. So construction is going to be moving forward.
Yeah. This has definitely been updated since I last looked at it. I mean, you can already see that some of them are being rebuilt and stuff, so and I hope that the people are getting the help that they can from the government. But
this I believe, was one of the wealthier parts of the city. Isn't this Brent Spiner ran into Denise Crosby as they were both splitting? Like,
like Mel Gibson lost his home.
One of his homes.
There was certainly, a lot of wealthy people lost their homes. But I think
no less tragic because they had means, but at least they had means.
No, I mean, I think that the tragedy will always be in the small things that, like, I had a bag stolen, the totality of which everything that was in it, as well as the bag itself, came to about 400 quid. I happened to have my passport in it at the time. It was an absolute nightmare. The thing that was most precious to me was a tiny black and white photograph that was in my little wallet with my travel pass, which was a photograph of my friend Angela that's passed away, that I carried everywhere with me for good luck, and that's gone forever. Can't get it back. There's no negative that exists, So this tiny photograph, which they probably just threw in the bin, the person that stole it. So it's the little things like that that will always be the challenge. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so The Lost Bus, we all recommend it. Definitely check it out. It is a good film.
I had one quick joke for that is Matthew McConaughey, who I sometimes call Matthew McKinda-gay because he is a little weird. He kind of prepared for this one by being himself, because if you ever look at his candids, he's always a soap dodgery, kind of ungroomed, unkempt, throws on a wrinkled suit and just sort of shows up kind of guy.
Yeah.
When you heard that phrase, soap dodger.
When you got abs like I do, man, it doesn't really matter, does it?
We'll just talk about this briefly. Northern, did you get to see this?
No, I really have not got. I've really not had a lot of chance to see some stuff at the moment. Maybe just stuff to make notes with and review, and that's about it. But
so for anyone,
I know the story about him anyway. Yeah. But Jesus Christ, the fact that he got away with it as well, just on a suspension for what he did, man, it's unacceptable.
Yeah, for those who don't know, and this is Martin Clunes, the actor, who did a superb job. He's playing Hugh Edwards, and Hugh Edwards for a very long time was basically the face of the news in most people's homes. Everybody would have known in the UK who Hugh Edwards was. He was a very competent, because news reading requires a very specific skill set. You've got to have amazing alliteration and diction, and people have got to be able to speak clearly and concisely and read the monitor and all that kind of stuff. But it's also about your poise, your tone. When you're conveying some news which will be horrific. He famously announced the death of the Queen, which happened at the time I was incarcerated, funnily enough, so I didn't get to see that announcement. But but in reality, what was going on behind the scenes was he was eliciting sexual relationships with young men who were underage, and also encouraging them to send him explicit images and videos and this kind of thing. And ultimately, the parent of one such individual found out. They went to the police. There'd been rumours about him before. I'd never heard anything. And he was arrested. He lost his job, of course, rightly so. And this is the true story of what happened. Now, as a drama, I don't think this show is actually that good. What is good about it is Martin Clunes is absolutely amazing as Edwards. It's really fantastic, but I think the whole thing just ends far too quickly. It should have been a two-parter. We don't see Hugh Edwards in his natural environment with his family. We don't see him in scenes with his wife. We don't see the impact that's this all coming out has on that. There's no interaction there. We don't get a sense of what his life was like on a day-to-day outside of him reading the news and also this illicit relationship. There's nothing else. And I just feel we should have seen more. I found it was too telescoped, the narrative. And also a lot of the minor characters, people he works with in the news office and stuff like that, there's no sense of the real dynamics that he had with his work colleagues. It's all very neutral, and the focus is on the relationship he had with the man, and that's fine. but I wanted to know more about other things. I just felt it was shot quite sort of, they wrote it to be filmed as cheaply as possible with the biggest name they could get to play the role, who'd be willing, who sort of looks vaguely like Edwards, and he's got him down to an absolute T. So worth seeing for the performance of Martin Clunes, worth seeing to find out what went on. Not a great TV drama. For me, it's a 6 out of 10. I think it could have been a lot better. And yeah, you're right. He didn't. It's amazing this guy did not go to prison. And of course, we know why that is, because, you know, he's of a certain class in society, and only poor people go to prison in our country. Rich, powerful people don't get to go to prison. That's how it.
You know, you mentioning this program reminds me of another program that's very similar, but it's entirely fictionalized, and it's called National Treasure with Robbie Coltrane.
Oh, now, mate, that is now. Let's talk about that, seeing as you brought it up, because that is one that I've wanted to talk about. Do you know what? I might do a episode of Best of British, and we can talk about that on there, and you can come on and chat to me about it. Is it 2 or 3 parts, if I remember rightly?
Yeah, I think it was 2 or 3 parts. Yeah, because this is doing what you mentioned that this program didn't do, and that is actually seeing how all this stuff that's just coming out about him is actually affecting him in his personal life, and it is a very good bleak ending, and you do actually feel sympathy for Robbie Coltrane's character until you come to the end and you start to realize, oh.
Well, what they do with this, but with it being fictional, is he's just about to win an award for something. I think he's playing a fictional, well-known actor and comedian. It's loosely based on about 2 or 3 people, and this came out in the wake of all the stuff with Jimmy Savile coming out. So clearly it was partly inspired by that story.
Yeah, by Operation Nutri, where everyone was under the microscope. People like Jim Davidson, Freddie Starr, everyone. It was crazy.
But what was clever about this drama, as you said, was that right until the end, they play it so that you're not quite sure, did he do these things he's being accused of or not? Stupenzo is in the house. My co-host has finally arrived.
Did you have a time change?
In the country? No, did you?
Yeah.
Yes, you did actually. Daylight savings time in the
this
UK.
is what happens every year. We start daylight savings, and then Nielsen show starts an hour late, and then out of nowhere, a few weeks later, it starts on time.
He's not on freedom time.
But yes, it was the 29th.
Convert to
so
freedom units.
Okay.
It's not shocking to be thrown off.
But Enzo, good news. Because, you know, you don't like getting my artistic thumbnail assignments at the end of the Nielsen ratings, I have an email almost ready to go with a list of them for you that I was going to send you right at the beginning of the stream, because I know how much you like having with those. So
did you talk about what? Did you talk about anything?
We
Lost Bus yet?
We talked about the Lost Bus. Did you see it?
Yeah, I thought it wasn't bad actually. What was it? Like it was pretty funny because I was like, as soon as it started, I was like, oh God, this stupid. I'm not a fan of this Paul Greengrass style directing. And then 10 minutes into the movie, I'm like, oh wait, it is Paul Greengrass. But I gotta say, I was pretty impressed with all the fire special effects, like the big smoke. It reminded me of like Dante's Peak with all the big, huge, massive amounts of smoke and stuff. It looked really cool, and then the fire was cool. But yeah, I mean, it was a good standard boilerplate Paul Greengrass flick, I guess. It wasn't great, wasn't bad. It was pretty good. I was surprised.
I gave it a 9 out of 10. What would you give it?
I'd give it like a 7. It was good. I didn't love it, but it was really good on a technical level. Even though I hate Paul Greengrass's fluid camera style. It's like, please just hold the camera still for 5 seconds, please. Could you just put the camera on a tripod just once?
Yeah, it's like Randy when he's when he's recording everyone getting chased by the bloody big hamsters, isn't he? Smile for the camera, honey. Smile for the camera.
Okay. Yeah. Well, we liked it. We covered that was the first film we just covered the Hugh Edwards thing, which I don't think you've seen.
You know what I love though? There's that one moment where that he was one of the partners, one of the Cuban dudes from Bad Boys, the guy with the big handlebar mustache. He's like the main firefighter dude with the gray hair.
Oh,
he's like doing his press conference, and he has to go back to the podium. And one more thing, these fires get worse every year. We're not listening. We didn't listen. It's so stupid. We're screwing up, people. What does he say? But I thought that was funny because it's like, you know, you could take that as like global warming, but I took it more as like, yep, the state of California is fucking up. They don't know what they're doing at all. I agree, sir.
I thought it was him having a pop at PG&E because this had already been already come out about the cables causing fires and things.
Yeah, he was.
Apparently they were warned about all this stuff as well.
Yes.
And, I guess who warned them? Trump, wasn't it? Trump actually.
Well, yeah, they're the purging fires. You need to do your purging for fires, otherwise your forest will get overgrown with dead growth and it'll catch fire. This is something you have to do.
Manage it.
But also, I did find that it's weird at the end where they were like, the power company was fined a bunch of money in charge of manslaughter. I was like, really? Is there a fault? It seemed like an accident. It seemed like power cables, malfunction, and it was an unfortunate situation. It was
because they hadn't updated, PG&E hadn't updated the grid in like 30 years, even though they were supposed to, because they had been pouring all of their funding into projects that were going nowhere about how they were going to switch over the whole grid to solar and wind. That was never, it's never going to be possible for PG&E to switch over to solar and wind to power the whole of California. But that was where they were putting all of their money instead of updating their existing above ground power lines, and some of them which needed to be buried, especially in high wind areas. And so when there's no updates to the infrastructure, to the existing infrastructure, and all the money's going towards a pipe dream that's never going to sustain the state, and a lot of it was being embezzled, I'm sure. Don't come for me.
So,
anyway,
a lot of victims. There was a lot.
The deadliest fire of all California history. That was cool, or not cool, but crazy. Yeah, I installed this 400,000 watt spotlight bulb. You guys think it looks good? Blasted myself.
Yeah, man.
Such a contrast from last week where you were mysteriously in the darkness.
I have the door open. I'm wondering where Yellow Man the cat is. But no, what also I found funny, or I guess an anecdote similar to that was I have this power pole, telephone pole right behind my house, in the corner here, and I've got these cables and trees growing over them, and this power right here always like malfunctions in storms, and would get blackouts, and you have to call someone, and they'd come out and take the pole and they flip the thing up and it comes back on. And then eventually they replaced the whole power pole, which was cool, but it sucks because they removed the power pole. It took a bunch of work. They like removed fence and pulled the stuff out, but then they also removed the tree that was like engulfing the power pole that was causing all these problems. And now like my neighbor's house just gets blasted in sunlight like 24, like, the whole day. There is no like shade, because like when the sun starts getting past, afternoon, it starts getting behind the trees, and it's like nice little natural shading. I kind of miss that tree, even though it caused a bunch of problems.
So Last Bus, you'd still recommend it to people, right?
Oh yeah. Definitely for a streaming movie. You know how I hate those. They're usually awful. But I was really impressed by like the special effects, like when they show the shot of like the smoke, like just at the beginning of the movie, the first half of the movie, all the stuff outside the fire, that stuff looked awesome. It reminded me of like Dante's Peak. Like how do they do that? I know it's computer, but really good like mapping, where like because it's handheld camera all the time because stupid Paul Greengrass. But yet the smoke is, it looked real. It looked like they just started a real forest fire for the movie, which would have been cool. Back when Hollywood had balls. That's what Chris Nolan would do. Chris Nolan made it. He started an actual 3,000-acre fire just so he could get the realism.
Through the verisimilitude.
Because you can tell when fire is CGI, there's just something fake about it. But when you see the real fire, you can see all that black smoke coming off it, everything. It looks really dangerous.
I think something they did for the effects that looks really good. So real fire is very, very difficult to film, as a lot of people know, especially in volume, because real fires are actually very, very dark. Forest fires, house fires, there's so much smoke in them that it's difficult to see a lot of the actual flames. And in this case, it is digital effects that they're doing, but they've made the fires, they're very bright where they're bright, but they've made them very dark, and you can see just how much smoke and just how much blackness is filling the air. And that grimness actually adds a real air of authenticity to it, even though they didn't actually set the woods around these highways on fire. You feel that it is real because it doesn't look like a lot of fire effects that you often see in movies where they're going for digital fires that are bright and clean.
You're right, Ed. How different it was just like a couple of miles away, because you're in line of sight when you're at that camp. At the fire control camp, you can see the two different columns of flame, and the camera kind of moves around to orient you to the outlet where the fire is while they're tracing it on the map. So
yeah,
cool.
It's really well done. It's really well done. There's good sort of sense of place and stuff like that. I really rated it. Thought it was great. Okay,
I think what would have made the movie cooler, because like Matthew McConaughey's character is like such a loser, you know. It's like nothing's going right for him, and it's not like his fault or anything. He's just going through like a really hard time. Like it's like the movie is just like a bunch of massive L's, but then they save the kids, and then dad and son hug. Those are like the only W's in the entire movie. Everything's just like, oh man, this is just getting worse and worse. But it would have been cooler if Matthew McConaughey was also like a crippling meth addict, you know. And he was this crazy like methamphetamine, like, you know, he does some like Popeye spinach.
School bus driver.
Children around in a bus. That was the case.
So he typically drives the kids around, drops them off, then he gets high because he's a meth addict. But now he's like trapped in a bus with a bunch of kids and a teacher. And at one point he's like, "Look, I gotta do this, okay?" And he like lights up, and then he's like, "We could do it." And he starts like driving all crazy like through the fire. That'd been sick.
I've been driving school kids while high on meth since I was.
He's like missing teeth at the end when he's like, "Kevin, you did it." He's like, "Thank you, y'all. I'm fucking high. I'm tweaking hard. I'm gonna go back to my shed."
At the end of the movie, the text on screen says that guy is now a school teacher.
Yeah, I saw that. Well, good for him. I also watched Send Help on your recommendation.
I thought it was so okay. So big problems with it. Overly, unlike Send Help, unlike Lost Bus, it's a lot of computer animation, and it all looks like garbo.
Agreed.
Also, they made fun of this on Red Letter Media, but like Sam Raimi's, inability to not include an old hag jump scare. An old hag jump scare has to be included in any like Sam Raimi movie, because it reminded me of like Drag Me to Hell a little bit, because it's so gross out and stuff. It's not what I thought it was going to be. But the fact that it was Sam Raimi made me think it wasn't going to be what it looked like it was going to be, which is, you know, girl boss movie. You're not in charge, Mr. Boss. I'm in charge. Battle of the sexes type thing on an island. But what it really was Castaway meets Misery, because this woman's actually insane. Like, the boss is a big asshole, but she's like crazy. Bitches be crazy. That was another one of these movies. And there's two specific scenes. Two specific moments that are just like, whoa! Like, the CPR scene was hilarious, and also the big fight scene with the thumb going into that woman's eyeball was like, whoa, that's not good. But yeah, this movie was fun, and funny. So I liked it a lot.
Yeah, describing it as Misery meets Castaway is a very apt description. It's got a couple of issues. One is that neither of the two lead characters are particularly sympathetic, although it does toy with you as to who you should root for quite cleverly.
That's what I liked about it. You go back and forth on who you root for.
Yeah, I liked that. The green screen stuff in it is utter dog crap, but that didn't really bother me because it worked. The twist at the end.
There were several shots of the beach at night where it just like they couldn't find an actual beach and even do a day for night shot.
Yeah.
It made me rewatch Castaway, which is 2004, no 2000, and it looks better than this movie, which is funny, even though that one also has a lot of computer stuff. But Robert Zemeckis, man, he's insane. I'm starting to realize. I still got pretty emotional when that volleyball got lost. Still holds up. I'm sorry, Wilson.
My name's Boyd, dumbass.
But yeah, Stand Up was fun.
But I did like the scene with the warthog boar thing, where then suddenly like she's stabbing it and its nose explodes.
That was very Sam Raimi.
Snot after snot after snot after gunk, and I was thinking, would love to have been on set to see Rachel McAdams deal with these takes. I wonder how many she had to do, and that's a lot of fun.
Well, I also loved how they write off how she's so knowledgeable on the island just because she's a fan of Survivor. That's it. And I'm like, you know what?
That was a little bit too rushed, in my opinion. They could have developed that a little bit more better. Like, okay, she knows this stuff. She watched Survivor, but she still has to put this stuff in practice and she still has to struggle with it and learn.
She tried out for Survivor. It's different.
Well, yeah, I think there could have been a little more about how, like, she did try out for Survivor, but like she's always been into bushcraft. Maybe it was like, her family upbringing. Maybe that was part of what made her be kind of weird and ostracized for a lot of her life.
I feel like this movie could have benefited if it took a lot of its time on a lot of stuff and dragged out a little bit more.
I think both bad people size each other up well. He calls her a savant. So reading all those books, she had like instant recall. It's like, I know that tree. I know that plant. I know that neurotoxin. I know that weird frog that I could get poison off of.
It was a blue ring octopus and stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
What were your thoughts on the octopus toxin scene? Did it have you crossing your legs in sympathy?
Oh, yeah. I was like, Jesus Christ, she really doing it?
Yeah, I was.
It wasn't as hardcore as. Did you ever see Hard Candy with Elliot Page when she was Ellen? That castration scene is so great because all she does is like take she ices his balls and then she like just touches him and he thinks that he's getting operated on and she's not. So messed up. But yeah, the rat scene was fun. I liked how it was cute because it was like a will they, won't they? Will they or won't they have hook up, or will they or won't they kill each other? Like, we didn't know.
Yeah.
There was a weird Oedipal vibe to their relationship too, because she's like 46 and he's like 29 or something.
Yeah, but she passes for 20 something, 30, late
20s.
20s.
Don't get me wrong. She's a valid option on the desert island.
There was a lot. You guys might have missed this if you're not hearing from certain groups, but there is a lot of female anticipation for this movie, especially I'd say in the 30 to 50 range, of like a lot of women who are around Rachel McAdams' age who really think what's his name, Dylan O'Brien's really hot, and they're like, it's coming out around Valentine's Day, like, oh my goodness, maybe it'll be a little tense, but this is like the spicy, sexy, hot thriller that we want. I think they might have been disappointed.
That is interesting because you're gonna hook up with your boss, but he's also half your age, and he's married.
I think all of that was part of the appeal.
Yeah, right.
The potential appeal that never materialized for this.
But it really showcased how like she looks pretty frumpy at the beginning of the movie, and it's like it just shows like all you gotta do is, ladies, is just wash your hair a little, and you need to like doll it up. And
I could wash my hair more to look like Rachel McAdams. I'd do it,
I like the scene where the guy gets caught on the outside of the plane, and as soon as the plane is going down, they're all like immediately. They're not trying to help each other. They're all trying to get her seat. He's like a taste.
She like forks him in the hand.
Yeah. Yeah,
and then like a taste of like how it's gonna go.
Yeah, and
he gets caught on the outside of the plane, and I love it when she pulls the blind down.
It's like ties.
That's very Fight Club.
Yeah. It's got that real good Sam Raimi mean-spirited humor, though. That's the thing. I mean, it could have been written a bit more better and less CGI, but it is fucking funny, though.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was funny.
Yeah,
I had a good laugh watching this. Anyone want to say anything else before we give it a rating?
Yeah, I was going to say it does come across a little bit like it was going to be a full-on gal boss and the rich white guy is the arsehole, and it kind of still is, but at least it's funny when it does it. I mean, it's not Sam Raimi's funniest. He has done better stuff, but I did have it was still kind of fun though. Its own dumb way.
Well, kind of like how, like 10 minutes in, I guessed that it was Paul Greengrass that made Lost Bus. If you hadn't told me this was Sam Raimi, I could have been like 25, like definitely like the vomit scene. I would have been like, is this a Sam Raimi movie? Like, I would have been like, what's going on? The boar scene also, I would have been like, this seems like Sam Raimi made this.
Am I the only one that thought it would have been better if that boar was practical, just to make the gore and a little bit more
absolutely. The boar looked like a Moana character or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I will give credit. That was the only time she kind of struggled a little bit with the hunting because she had to take that thing down 3 times. I mean, that thing was like even more unkillable than the bloody cow from Me, Myself, and Irene for a second there.
She got lucky 2 or 3 times in that fight, too. She got really lucky. So it wasn't like she lost the thing to death.
A girl who's a Survivor fan, no matter how awesome and how much she loves Survivor, is taking down a boar like
that's what I mean. It could have used a bit more development there into how she learned how to hunt, because watching Survivor and reading the books is 10 times different than actually going out to do it. You still have to learn this stuff.
This movie could have benefited if it was like a half an hour or an hour longer. Like for instance, like Lord of the Ring, like Lord of the Flies, where the boar is like a problem for a while, and then you finally kill it. You know, like it's that would have been fun.
There were a couple of improbable parts when the girlfriend and the boat captain show up. So I found it somewhat improbable that they would have that formal rescue efforts would have been given up so quickly, really, especially when they're, smoke signal or no, there's other types of evidence that there may be survivors on the island. And the fact that the girlfriend and the boat captain show up entirely by themselves without any what would the plan have been? How if they had found Bradley on the island critically injured, how would this skinny little girl and this older boat captain who aren't paramedics, how would they have gotten him off, for instance? And so it was improbable that they show up by themselves to just be taken out. And then the fact that there's a luxury mansion on the island as well, and whoever owns that house has not noticed them, and that they never noticed it on the other half of the island, just so that they could have the final set piece. It's all improbable. I get that it's for the story and it's a horror film.
Well, I like that because it was a pretty predictable twist that the island's, let me guess, the island's not inhabited, because they've done that a few times lately already with Triangle of Sadness and a few other island movies where it's like the big twist at the end is you find out, there's other people on the island. Whoops. But this one, it wasn't so bad because it kind of just kicks off like the end of the third act when it's revealed. It's not really like a big twist they say for the end of the movie. It's kind of like, by the way. But yeah, like it was pretty predictable. She's like, don't go that way by the big cross. It's like, let me guess, there's people over there. There's a resort over there or something you don't want to know. And I love that aspect that like it's very obvious that she's like they could have been rescued way earlier, and she's she's preventing that on purpose just so she could engage in this kind of power.
Because she's coming into her own and she's enjoying herself for the first time in ages, and is like enjoying exercising power over this guy he's not as mobile as she is now, so she can do it.
I like the scene where he poisons her and then suddenly produces this raft he's built and runs out with it.
That was my favorite part. Which
I was trying to reluctantly as well, because get the fuck off this island. There's where you can get off now. You can get GPS tracking and all this other stuff now. I mean, why are you keeping us here?
But it's funny because she has to like reluctantly give that guy CPR, and like I said, like she's like vomiting in his face while giving him CPR. That was one of the funniest things I've seen in a hot minute.
She's tripping, right?
She's on drugs.
He poisons her because she told him about the berries, but it's not quite enough. So we see from her perspective, she's like tripping. And you know what? I viewed this movie as a comedy and as satire right away. And I think because the reason why she was able to hunt the pig, she was already on the inside like that aggressive. She had all this pent up aggression. Yeah, and then when there was also maybe an implication that she is like doing more than just crunching the numbers for Brandon's dad. you know, like he like thought so highly of her. Like maybe there were some more reasons. And then like when she drops, like I thought the stakes building of this movie was really excellent because it's like the little breadcrumb trails. Like when will the sandwich pay off? And that pays off in 2 minutes. But then there's other things that pay off in like 20 or 30 minutes.
Right.
And I thought that the way that they told the story, from the part where she's saving lives and seeming like she's the hero, to several rug pulls and point of view changes, and to the point where you're like, I give up. There is no hero in this movie. Like, which one of these bad people kills the other? And it's great.
Well, I liked how this movie was tightly paced. But like I said, this is one of the few times where I'm like, this could have benefited if you just like, if it had some moments to kind of breathe a little and took its time. And like everyone's saying, like build up the suspense, build up the character dynamics a little, build up the, but yeah, I did like it. How tightly paced it was, it was pretty rapid fire, high octane, dark comedy, and it was twisted. I love it. I love twisted and cynical.
I love how Sam Raimi still manages to do these very good sort of off-kilter kind of shots. Like when you see the camera zoom in on the piece of tuna on her mouth, you can actually feel Dylan's disgust as well just by looking at it. It's I love Sam Raimi when he does all these weird wide-angle shots as well. He does it. He utilizes it so well.
Smell it. Smell this.
Yeah,
that was funny.
Hey, Buddy Bear in the chat. Good to see you, buddy. I've not seen you for ages, man. Let me know if you want to come on.
Bear. He's not a bear in his picture. What the hell?
I know. What's up with that? He's now like this kind of strawberry
his human anime form.
Charlie Brown type. What's going on there? Well,
that's
not Charlie Brown. Like. Charlie Brown didn't have hair. But...
Hello, sir.
Good to see.
Charlie Brown, yeah.
Good to see Whitey Bear. Okay, ratings. Ratings for Send Help out of 10. What are we giving this one? Enzo.
I'd give it a 7.5.
Okay.
So better than Lost Bus.
Okay.
Anna?
Well, just a little bit.
I'd give it a 6. I thought the twists were relatively predictable and there was a little too much improbable nonsense for me, but I could appreciate some of the scenes. I could see what Sam Raimi was going for, and yeah.
Fantastic. Admiral Teague.
I gave this movie an 8. I'm right there with Enzo, but I thought it was serious parody and serious satire. There was a movie with Anthony Hopkins and Alec Baldwin, which had the same premise. Yeah, and they get stuck out there in the Pacific Northwest, and they're trying to survive. And it turns out that all the same skills that make you a corporate boardroom guy are like they transfer and make you an alpha hunter. And Alec Baldwin can't compete, and it was ridiculous. And this movie's like it's poking fun at that, and then we're throwing in things like Lord of the Flies, single white female. We've got the horrible bosses is in there, and again, like they weren't as dirty looking as Matthew McConaughey was in the other movie, but they were looking pretty filthy and grimy. And I liked her crazy, slightly sexy but crazy cat lady thing. Yeah. And I thought the ending was great.
I think I love it because it's a Sam Raimi movie. If someone else had directed this exact same movie, I'd be like, this is baffling. I don't understand why would you do this? But it's Sam Raimi, so it all makes sense.
Yeah.
When she fought that pig, that movie won me over because I was laughing so hard when she finally she's all in when she attacks, and she does get in a couple of like devastating blows because she's like smart, but then the thing's not going easily, but it's clumsy and like it's like everything about that scene. Her fight scenes were not that girl bossy because like when she lost her temper and charged in there, the guy got the upper hand and started beating up on her real quick. She had to be stealthy and smart, and she had to get caught some breaks. And I thought that, like I said, both of these terrible characters sized each other up well. I laughed so hard during 2 or 3 different scenes of this movie. So effective comedy, a lot of well-framed shots. And I liked that ending. I felt this was a standalone Twilight Zone kind of movie. It really was. This was a 1 hour and 54 minutes was exactly the right amount of time too.
What's your rating out of 10?
8. Oh, I'll give it an 8. It was a lot of fun. Yeah,
Okay.
it's not Return of the Jedi in context for what it is, a standalone Twilight Zone satirical movie. It's an 8. It was funny. It was really funny.
I'm going to give it a rating of 7. I liked it. I thought it was fun. I did laugh a lot. It was entertaining. I probably wouldn't watch it again, and I don't feel the need to have it in my physical media collection. But it was a pleasant way to spend the afternoon, So, yeah. All right. Okay. So we'll move on. We're going to touch upon a subject that I don't normally talk about on my channel, but this is the place where we tweak the nose of terror. Now, not that long ago, my good friend, the Critical Drinker, had a guest on his channel in the form of Andy Weir, who was, of course, the writer.
Hey, we can talk about this. Oh yeah.
We are going to talk about it. Yeah. The Martian and so on, and they had a rollicking good interview. It was a really good interview. I was really impressed that he got Weir to come on, but Weir's a fan of the Drinker, as are many people in the industry. And they had a frank and open conversation about the state of Star Trek today. And Weir agreed with many of the criticisms that a lot of us have for the Kurtzman Trek, mainly that it's extremely poorly written with no real thought behind it, and is basically a group of self-entitled people that sat in a room and said, how can we piss everyone off? I know, we'll make a gay Klingon and all this kind of, it's just utter. I've never seen such disrespect given to an established IP. We've had it before with Star Wars, but this was that show. Actually, I actually find that show quite offensive. So next level. So it didn't surprise me that Mr. Weir was quite happy to also voice his opinion, as many people have come out now. But then, of course, the people that pay him money and for rights of films and things like that got their feathers a bit ruffled, and clearly turned around and chatted with Mr. Weir, and he was forced to post an apology, and I'm going to read it. I'm posting.
Writers don't make fun of other writers, bro. Writers don't criticize other writers. Apparently, that's news to me.
Let me read this out. I'm posting to apologize about stuff I said on the Critical Drinkers podcast. I feel like my quotes were taken out of context as salacious sound bites. I hope you saw the other parts where I said how much I like you as a person and what a nice guy you are. Also, how I like Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks. I was trying to be funny, but now realize that it came off as disrespectful and mean. I'm sorry for that. I mean, that's an apology directly to Kurtzman. I'm interested to hear the panel's thoughts on this. Stupenzo, as my co-host, you can go first.
Well, I thought it was funny. There was a great post about how if he had criticized Landman and Taylor Sheridan, would mainstream media demand he apologize to Taylor Sheridan? Probably not. But because he made fun of Star Trek, Starfleet Academy, it's like, hey, it's like you're making fun of the. You're making fun of that fat virgin nerd in high school who sucks, and they're actually quite unlikable. It's not just that they're losers; it's that they're also kind of dicks. A lot of these nerds are assholes, and you realize, like, man, these people need to get bullied. And but it's like, oh, you're kicking them while they're down. They just got canceled. The show's terrible. How dare you say the show is terrible? You're hurting our feelings as writers because all the writers are children. And also I loved how it was like some random guy who was like sticking up for them, like, this is not right. But yeah, and also, Andy Weir did the main problem, which was apologize. You should just be like, fuck you, the show is terrible. All right. I apologize to Kurtzman if he got his feelings hurt, but his show sucked. Sorry. Because when you apologize, like, you see his post where he apologizes and all the comments are just like, well, it's bad. First we got to address the fact that you're hanging out with Critical Drinker. What are you doing chumming it up with such a chud? How dare you? Like, that's the real problem.
Yeah.
So again, you haven't apologized. You've only bent the knee. You've only groveled before them, and now they're going to keep giving you these stupid loyalty tests forever. That's how it works. That's how they do that. You have pledged your fealty to these people. Where if you just told them to fuck off, they would have thrown a tantrum, and that's it. Your movie still would have made a good shit zillion dollars. So who cares? Yeah, it's just bad play on Andy Weir. And again, it all seems very. I thought it was very strange that he went on his channel in the first place. Like, so you have to be expecting flack. Obviously, you have to.
Yeah.
And of course, it's like they're not going to have flack. They're not going to critically apologize. They're not going to demand, because it's, the era of woke is dying down, and also Critical Drinker is a huge platform, so you can't really demand he apologize for that, even though you want him to. But you can cherry pick something he said that hurts somebody's feelings, you can demand he apologize for that, and while he's at it, also, while you're down there on your knees, apologize for being on the Critical Drinker show. Shouldn't have apologized, and you should have expected flack. You should have just buried the noise. You should have just let everyone run with it. And, of course, the media's running with this, He apologized. He's admitting defeat. He knows that it was wrong to be on Drinker's channel is what they equate that to. And, of course, nobody was... there were people throwing tantrums when he did the interview, but nobody was putting it all over the front page of Hollywood Reporter. And, of course, I'm sure if you go to the comment sections on any one of these articles, everyone in the comments is like, this show was bad, though. So it doesn't matter. Like, I don't know. And now I'm worried about whatever Andy Weir's next book or next adaptation is going to be. They'll have to make sure he's playing by their rules, right?
Okay. Anna, your thoughts?
I think Andy Weir is going to be fine for his next book. I don't really think this is problematic necessarily, because his apology is specifically to Kurtzman, and specifically for the comment where he was like, hey, yeah, bro, your shows absolutely suck. I pitched you an idea, you shot me down, and so your shows really suck, so screw you. It's up slightly more colorfully than that. And I can understand how that half minute or so can come off pretty rudely, and so he's probably saying, yeah, I should have modulated my words about that a little bit better. He does not, however, apologize for anything else he said, or he doesn't actually say, I'm sorry, Kurtzman, your shows are actually fantastic, so good, because everyone knows Alex Kurtzman is a terrible writer. He's a plagiarist. None of his shows have been any good at all, and some of them have been absolutely abysmal. These are just known facts. Everyone can see it. The emperor has no clothes when it comes to that. And so since Weir was just saying, hey man, I think I came off a little too harshly in the way I spoke about you, like, as a person. And he did preface it with, like, dude's a nice guy, but he doesn't apologize for anything else. People might extrapolate as, Andy Weir is feeling bad now for having been on Drinker's show. I don't think so at all. He didn't apologize for any of that, and he hasn't backed down or apologized for any of the other views that he expressed on that interview, which, by the way, was really good. I highly recommend people check out that interview if they want to. If you really like the film, if you want to hear more about the book, if you've read the book, or if you're thinking about reading it, you'll really enjoy that interview. It's absolutely fantastic. And Drinker just kind of, he'd back off and let Andy talk about, not that Drinker dominates interviews ever, but he'd just let Andy talk about things. And Andy Weir is a really interesting guy to listen to, his train of thought as he's talking about how he constructs the story. So anyway, I think this apology specifically to Kurtzman, he's like, hey, you are a man who I know, who I've spoken to face many times. I shouldn't have said the things in as disrespectful a way as I did. However, he's not apologizing for anything else.
Yeah, and I also thought it was funny how the best thing he said was where he said, every science fiction show takes inspiration from Star Trek, except new Star Trek shows. They seem to be inspired by other things. And it's like, that's absolutely 100% accurate.
He was right to say that.
Very true. Admiral T, you'll go, so jump in.
Oh my God, am I chomping at the bit? You ready? Here we go.
Okay, first but I'm putting the sand timer on. You got 5 minutes tops.
I don't even need that much time.
You better have an apology for your apology.
First of all, Andrew's right.
There you go.
First of all, Enzo's right. Never apologize. Critical Drinker did great. I noticed that the quote was 100% accurate about what, every show takes inspiration from Star Trek except modern Star Trek. Good shows don't cope and cry like this. Alex Kurtzman has bullied every critic and called them every name in the book. And I notice if you look at what Weir said, it seemed to me that he went out of his way to specifically, without saying his name, sort of shield the drinker from the criticism too, by saying, look at it in context. In other words, it was a fair question. So in 6 months, no one's going to remember that he apologized, and Alex Kurtzman's going to be bagging groceries. So who cares? Alex Kurtzman's a loser who's never given us 2 minutes of even real Star Trek, let alone enjoyable Star Trek. He's not made an enjoyable moment of TV in his entire career. He peaked with Xena Warrior Princess. He's a fraud and a hack, in my opinion. And, for a guy who goes around calling the critics all the kind of names that he does, he's got a lot of nerve to be offended, but on the side of Andy Weir, of course, he said the right Hollywood thing that his agent wrote for him with the least amount of emotion. He's like, but by the way, make sure you don't throw the interviewer under the bus. Threw the apology out there and hasn't made any more of it. No one's going to remember the apology. More people will go and talk to Critical Drinker, I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. Look at that. All under time. Fantastic stuff. Northern.
Honestly, Alex Kurtzman deserves every insult he gets. I mean, he has pretty much gone out of his way to piss off the fans who really love this franchise. He has alienated them. He has deliberately alienated them all just for his own fucking ego. And Andy Weir should not have apologized. Screw Kurtzman. You know what? If you don't like being insulted, stop being a prick, stop being a hack, and actually try and create something substantial that people will enjoy. And actually respect the bloody fans and the law. Respect the thing that they grew up with. That's my
yeah. Okay. Great.
Yep. Fans want the Enterprise sequel show. Fans want Mike Sussman and Star Trek United with Scott Bakula. That's what the Star Trek fans want. They're excited about that. They don't want this Kurtzman garbage.
My take on it is pretty simple. I mean, first of all, the show is just dross. I feel sorry for the various departments that worked on it, because you can see there's skill there. There's skill in some of the production design. Some of the costumes are interesting. Some of the special effects are good. I'm so over all this fucking lens flare bullshit. Everything looks shiny. I'd much rather have a basic bridge that actually looks lived in. Can we strip back? Can we also strip back the fast special effects with the fights? I'd like to see slow naval style combat in a Star Trek show again, not Star Wars spaceship battles, because that's what was always great. That was the clear difference. Star Wars is, like the Battle of Britain, fighters bombing around all over the place. Whereas
Punch it.
Star Trek is, yeah, exactly. Star Trek is more like Hunt the Bismarck,
Yes, Star Trek was more like Hornblower in space, wasn't it? It's like
Hornblower in space. It's when there's combat, there's a naval academy. Now, okay, we did sort of get the big space battles in Deep Space Nine, but they were fine. That was where I felt the limit was reached. I didn't want to see them any bigger than that. And I love Deep Space Nine. I'm a huge fan of DS9. It's actually my favorite of all the Trek shows. In regards to Weir with this, I'm not going to voice an opinion on whether Weir should or shouldn't have done this, because I'm not party to the pressures that may have been put upon him in his life.
Lance, you used this topic. You put all of us on the spot and had us all opine about it. You need to have an opinion.
I'm going to voice an opinion on it. Give me a chance. I'm getting there. But I'm not going to say whether he was right or wrong to do this, because I'm not aware of what pressures were put upon him. I don't know if his partner was involved, etc., children, whatever. What I will say is that this comes down to freedom of speech. And when a show is put out, or a movie comes out, anyone should be able to give an opinion on it, no matter whether that opinion is full of praise or full of criticism. And Andy Weir is perfectly entitled to have his opinion. He's also entitled to make jokes about people he's met in the industry. One of the things that come across about him in the interview is that he's completely unfazed by the whole fact that his stuff's been picked up by Hollywood and made into big movies. It doesn't faze him at all. He was already doing quite well in his career. His other career.
He's not pulling a George R.R. Martin and getting corrupted by red carpet parties.
And he never insulted Kurtzman as a person. He was like, he's a really nice guy. I've enjoyed talking to him. He's a really bad writer. He insulted his work, which has Kurtzman been so generous with the people he criticizes?
No. So I think this whole to finish what I was saying, this whole episode tells us more about the kind of time that we live in and how these people demand an apology for being offended. It's about how comedy, stand-up comedy's been, shaped and reformed, and you can't say or do certain things in comedy now. I disagree with all of that. I don't have a problem with Weir in this circumstance. I have a problem with the people who've forced him to do this and use the powers at their disposal to put him in this position where he feels he has to. We live in, everybody is always talking about democracy. This article is an example of how that is crumbling. When you can't criticize people, it's just fuck off.
Well, like it's also a like for instance in comic books, there's always kind of the rule like comic book success, popular comic book creators, writers, and illustrators don't really criticize other comic book writers and stuff in the medium that are working, because I think the reason why that was a problem was because comic books are such a niche, thing. Like we all need to cooperate. Whereas like big movies and stuff, like the Hollywood movie industry, it was very competitive because it's like a multi-billion-dollar industry. And now I think it's showcasing like things are tough where we all got to work together and we all got to, boost each other up. Everyone needs everyone's views. We can't be in competition anymore, guys. It reminds me of like the old comic book days where we all have to like quietly just promote everybody because we, views are down. And that's kind of more underlying issue I see with this. You're not allowed to criticize other movies and TV shows. Well, since when? When has that been a rule?
Yeah.
There is fine though. The Hollywood Reporter, hardly anyone takes them seriously, or the few people who've been whinging on Twitter, on X about it. It's not going to be a problem. His movie's doing fantastically well. He's working on other books. I'm actually going to see Project Hail Mary because I move back to Japan next week. So I won't be here next week because I will be in an airplane over the Pacific Ocean. But I'm going on Wednesday to see Project Hail Mary again with a friend, this time in Japanese. So I'll report back if any new insights come from that.
I love football. I can't wait to see it.
I'm also looking forward to the live stream that you're going to do with Critic Owl from outside one of the cool Japanese castles.
That's right.
Especially for this channel. So that's going to be fab. Looking forward to that. But we will miss you guys when you're temporarily unavailable during your Japanese excursions. Please look out for die-cast Thunderbirds toys for Lance during your time in Japan.
Die-cast Thunderbirds toys.
Yeah, Konami
scour the shops.
Indeed, because you can get a lot of them over there that you can't get over here. So Al's already got specific instructions. Okay, in the time we have remaining, I'm going to go around the panel quickly and see who's got anything they want to recommend. And of course, Stupenzo, as I stated earlier, I've sent you all the artistic things in an email to you already. Right. So you can be beavering away,
No, I'll do it later.
But you're not getting the end of the show. I thought the idea was I send it to you now, and then it'll be done by the time the show's finished.
Sometimes, not today. I literally just got out of bed before I came out here.
Oh, okay.
I watched
what you got,
good things. Well, what do you want to hear about? I watched Mike and Nick and Alice. I watched How to Make a Killing. Those are both decent. I also watched, for the first time in like 25 years, The Red Violin, which was so amazing. I forgot how good that was. But yeah. Just quickly on all three of those, Mike and Nick and Alice, and How to Make a Killing, and Send Help, both very cynically dark, violent movies. Killing is fun, but I liked How to Make a Killing a little bit better. It was actually kind of surprising how much I liked that one. I thought it was going to be Garbo. It was actually pretty decent, and Glenn Powell's good, and so's Margot Qualley, whatever her name is.
Yeah,
but also there's another lady in the movie who's a romantic interest, and she was one of the 3 hot sisters from Dorne, the assassin chicks in Game of Thrones. She's one of those girls.
Oh yeah,
she's in this movie. She's really good too. But yeah, this was a fun movie. You know, he's got to kill all of his cousins to inherit a fortune that he is distanced from his mother. You know, distanced himself from. Ed Harris is good as the big patriarch of the family, and all the annoying cousins. You know, you got that weird guy from Silicon Valley and some other dudes. There, you know, it was fun. And Mike and Nick and Alice. It was like mobster movie with time travel. This was another one of those very violent, it's funny to kill people movies. I didn't really care so much for the John Wick style action scenes, but James Marsden and Vince Vaughn again, like 2 Vince Vaughns and James Marsden together have some pretty good screen chemistry. And there's some good jokes here. There's some good laughs. Keith David's in it. He's got a pretty funny character. He's like the big mob boss, you know, and we're going to go find the rat. And like there's a line where he's talking to his son who just got out of prison. And he's like, hey, are you happy to be out of prison? He's like, is Pooh like honey? He's like, what? He's like, does Pooh Bear like honey? He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Pooh, Winnie the Pooh, the cartoon. He's like, I don't know. Does he like honey? Fuck yeah, he does. It's like, okay. Well, I found out who the rat is, and they're going to get their comeuppance. And he's like, they're what? Okay, that's cool. I'm going to be real. I don't really know what comeuppance means. And he's like, I don't know cartoons. You don't know big words. Who cares?
Say some words about the red violin, because, you know. Who's that?
Well, your buddy Jason Flemyng's in it, and he's got a pretty big role. And we see his cock and balls, or we see him naked, having a lot of sex. He does a really good job. I don't know if he's pretending to play the violin really good, or if he actually learned, but he was doing good. But I love this movie. I remember watching it.
Took some lessons.
Yeah. Yeah, like there's definitely that's something I think I loved about the movie best is like all the violin playing seems very real, and it's multilingual. Takes place in Italy and Germany and France and China and London, Oxford, and present day Montreal. And Sam Jackson's in it too. He's great. He's like this kind of like obsessed, antiquity nerd. They're gonna do this auction on this 400 or 300 something year old violin. And it's Italian violin, and it was made by this violin master. Yeah, something like that. And no, but yeah, I mean, I had seen this, in high school. It was one of those movies back in you just rent everything from the Hollywood video days.
Yeah.
And I remember this was one of those movies that I saw as a kid and be like, wow, that was good. And I love how, like I said, it's they don't do memoirs of a geisha like Chinese people speaking English. It's just all in the natural native dialects and stuff, and the music's great too. All the violin playing, and but this was a fun one, and it's got that great. I don't want to say twist ending, but like the movie's kind of told in chronological order, and then you go back to like when the violin was built, and there's like a big detail about the violin being built. That's like whoa. And you kind of hint at what's happening, but yeah, it's like these violins go for like $6 million or something at auction, and they're saving this one for last because they think it's like some little less because they basically they reveal where all these violins from the auction come from, and
from Cremona, isn't it? That's where all Stradivariuses are built.
Well, no, in this case, it's China because the violin finds its way through many owners, and you get to meet all these owners. And yeah, it starts out in Italy, goes to Germany, then it's in London with Jason Flemyng. And then I remember actually before, a bunch of gypsies give it to Jason Flemyng. Then it finds its way to China, and then it flash forwards to like the communists' takeover of China, and they're getting rid of all the Western instruments. And they talk about how this guy has to hide the violin, so it doesn't get destroyed, And then it cuts to like the 90s, and the old Chinese man has died, and they find this massive collection of all these Western instruments, and they're going to auction them off, I guess, in Montreal, and they're all being inspected by, antiquity experts, and they find out that this little red violin they have is the famous red violin, and they're like, oh my God, like suddenly it's like the star attraction of the auction. And Sam Jackson also is this like he's like obsessed, and he's the one who's unraveling the history of the violin. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw this a really long time ago, and actually, you know what? This is a film I need to own. I need to own a copy of this, because you're right, it's good. And yeah, Flemyng was really being lauded as like, the next big thing around the time this came out. His career was just taking off. He just, I think he just done Lock, Stock. And this might have been the film he did right after that. So, yeah.
I'd recommend this one out of the three I just said most, for sure.
Rating out of 10?
I give Red Violin like a 9, especially for like a little indie film from the late 90s, early 2000s. What is it, 99? God, 99 was such a great year. I would give that one a solid 9. Mike and Nick and Alice, I'd give like a 6.5, and How to Make a Killing, I'd give a 7. So
okay,
I'm done.
Anna, what you got for me?
Sure. I can recommend a TV show that I quite enjoyed based on a book series that I also quite enjoyed. It's called Lockwood & Co. It came out in 2023. And it was on Netflix, but it's a British show for Netflix. And the really disappointing thing is that it was canceled after one season, despite being very good and very well received by fans of the book.
I remember seeing a couple of episodes of this, I think.
Yeah, so it's based on a series of 5 books by a British author named Jonathan Stroud, who I think he's known more for the Bartimaeus Chronicles. But although it has a female main character written by a guy, I think it comes off a little bit differently than a lot of what you'd say young adult novels written by women. And so Stroud does really, really well with the world building, and the show captures this really excellently, just really quickly. The setting is basically in Britain in the 70s. An event which they call The Problem happens, where basically people die and their ghosts keep coming back, and these ghosts are incredibly dangerous, and if they touch you, basically you're comatose or dead, and if you die violently, you're more likely to come back as a ghost. And it shuts down pretty much all of Britain, and people don't know why this problem is happening. And so for the last 50 years they've been trying to deal with it, and because of it, the aesthetic of the show is very much stuck in the 70s. Everyone is still, there's no internet. Everyone is still using like cassette recorders, and a lot of people's life is going around, trying to live normally and keep yourself safe. And so a lot of people who've seen, for instance, like World War II films showing London or any major UK city will see a lot of parallels with that. But basically the premise is that adults cannot see ghosts, although they can absolutely be touched and killed by ghosts, but children and teenagers can. And so teenagers are the ones who are recruited to, like, until they lose their powers around 20-ish or so, they're the ones recruited to by ghost hunting agencies, which are run by adults, to tackle ghosts and to clear out houses and to contain all of these problems. And so it's got really nice fight choreography. And I would say they're all really smart. Darth Plato. The girl is probably the more useless of any of them, and she feels it quite a lot. They're all really, really capable. And it's extremely good casting and adaptation for a book series. And so this first season covered the first 2 books and was extremely well received. And then Netflix canceled it, as they do. But I think it'd be a fun watch for anyone, even if you haven't read the books. It's a fun time. Maybe if young adult stories aren't necessarily your thing, you might not like it. But I don't know. I had a really fun time with this one. And it is really disappointing that such a faithful adaptation was so abruptly canceled. I thought it had really good cinematography as well, and really wonderful lighting. They've captured the idea of sort of a bleak 70s. There's a lot of brutalist architecture in it, of like a London that is trapped in the throes of this issue that dominates all aspects of everyone's lives. And yet at the same time, everyone is trying to put their heads down and ignore the problem and just go about their normal business.
What would you rate it out of 10?
I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I really enjoyed, so like, just to give you a, like, it captures the spirit of the book very well. To give you the first line of the first book includes the phrase, "We've succeeded in cocking everything up," which gives you a sense of like the tone of the series. And it's really good as an adaptation. It is, I won't push it down to an 8 because it's not the fault of the show. You'll get one season. They even asked, like, if we could have just one more season, we can rush everything. We can cover the last 3 books. No, Netflix was just like, yeah, you're canceled. We've got to spend the money on all of the other amazing projects. You know, Stranger Things season 5 is coming up, and that's going to be fantastic. So no more budget for you.
Yeah, that sounds like a real shame. I can tell you now that almost certainly this location is Greenwich and the old Naval College, because I know
they use that quite a bit for a cemetery sequence. The actual cemetery was somewhere else, but they had a sort of a mausoleum crypt in the middle of it that they used, and I believe that was from the college.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen this advertised on Netflix. I think I saw the first couple of shows, first couple of eps when it came out, because it was sort of around that time Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief sort of stuff was you had that.
This is a lot better than that. People will compare it to other similar book series, and I'd say it's a little more mature than that. And here's a controversial take: being written by a male author, I think it is a little more relatable to adults.
Right. This cemetery location is in East London. This is the Hackney Cemetery. I've been in there, and it's a bizarre place because it's so old and overgrown and untended, and you can sort of walk around and. But yeah, it's a pretty interesting place. Not sure where this is. That's not sure where that is. That's different.
There are quite a lot of cemeteries in the show because that's where a lot of issues tend to arise. Also, lots of haunted houses.
Indeed. There we are.
But yeah, I haven't done justice in describing it, but it's very good stuff, and I really enjoyed that first season. And I actually went back and rewatched it again recently and was once again disappointed about how this was a really good adaptation. There's actually a race swap as well. One of the main 3, that boy down in the bottom, George Kareem, is George Cubbins in the book, and he's portrayed as like an absolutely disgusting, obese, like white, blonde, pale boy, and like. I think this was actually a case where having him be just as quirky and weird and be the researcher, but have him not be so absolutely disgusting and horrid was probably a good move, especially when these are all, 16, 17-year-old characters, although the actors are adults, of course.
Interesting that it got rave reviews as well, but
no, it is beloved. This show, it got a lot of fans into the book series, which is finished and finishes very, very well. And then it also, people who were fans of the book series universally loved the show. And so, of course, it was canceled.
Yeah. To answer your question, Stupenzolicious, I'm never quite sure with Mr. Smith. He makes strange comments, and I'm like,
it's funny if he's joking, and it's funny if he's not joking. We love you anyway, Paul. Yeah, you strange man.
Anna, thanks. Great suggestion. Admiral Teague, have you got a recommendation for us this week?
Sure, and I presented the tile if you want to share it on screen, but it's trending now up on Amazon. It came out a few weeks ago this year, and I was surprised. Dave Bautista, the 3rd best wrestler to ever act after Roddy Piper, I think, but before The Rock, and Jason Momoa, who I don't mind at all in this movie, in this role that was right for him, and it has a really good Miami Vice meets Magnum sort of mashup. They're not buddy cops. They're reverse buddy cops. They're brothers who are stuck in a situation. Boba Fett's in this. Who knew he could act? He does a good job in it too. And this was a lot of fun, just about long enough. The girlfriend, the chick in the movie, is the chick from Deadpool. It's Deadpool's girlfriend. She's cute. We all know her. This movie was a ton of fun. I think it was made in Fiji, and they're pretending they're in Hawaii.
Yeah, it was.
So,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a lot of fun.
Two Brothers from Rick and Morty. It was the Two Brothers movie.
We reviewed this, and I sort of thought it was perfectly fine. It was quite fun and passable, and the rest of my panel who was ever on that night, I think they all hated it, from what I recall.
I kept a good laugh going through this whole movie, so I couldn't hate it. It was like there were moments of extreme dumb, but then like the thing is, the moment of extreme dumb where it falls to a 0 intellectual, like the next minute it hits like an 8 or a 10 on the humor, like when they grab him in his bathroom, he turns around and with that ironic line, sword fight, and the sound effect is perfect, and they're like, like that was really, really funny. I mean, this movie kept me going, and what is it, an hour and 55 minutes? It's the exact right line.
Yeah, it was. It was, it was a fun sort of action comedy duo thing. I thought it was. It
is fun to find out it's another one of these Adam Sandler style movies. Not that it's like a Happy Madison style comedy, but like the movie's like secretly just a big vacation to a tropical island where they're going to happen to film a movie there. It's an excuse to go to Fiji or whatever for months. Yeah, it's awesome. I love that stuff.
Well, the films that kind of don't work are the ones where I don't know, the Knives Out. It's all set on an island in Greece in a really luxurious house, which is actually the luxury hotel that all the actors are staying in, which they're also hiring for the location.
Every Adam Sandler movie, it's like on a tropical resort or an island or a cruise or something like that.
So
I think Fiji made this, to be honest. This was them making their own movie and hiring a few Hollywood people with Fijian roots to be in it.
Yeah, it was.
I want to go to Fiji. Ever since I saw the Truman Show, I want to go to Fiji.
It was a big thing about getting more film investment over there. I think part of it was shot in Hawaii, though. I think there was some.
I can believe it. We see some exteriors and some familiar Hawaiian settings, but I thought this was just about fun enough, and I'll fight on this hill for this movie. I had a lot of laughs, and like I said, it was sort of like the tone of Miami Vice, but a little more humor, closer to Magnum. So. The set pieces were all done with humor in mind. There was a lot of humorous set pieces. So that. And if you want to check out a good comedy that seems to be parodying superhero shows, check out a show called Stumbled on Peacock. It's very, very funny. I've laughed out loud both episodes I've watched. Stumbled is a funny show.
Is it?
By the way, sorry. So this movie was shot in Hawaii and New Zealand. It was not shot in.
Okay, Fiji. Sorry, I messed up on that. So I think they exported it.
It was predominantly shot in Hawaii with then a whole load of extra stuff shot in New Zealand, and I think it was Hawaii was trying to make a big thing of the tax breaks and stuff to get more productions over there. So
I'd watch a sequel to this movie, so they earned it.
Yeah, I'd watch it. It was fun. I thought it was just a fun, dumb action flick, and the action scenes I thought were quite well directed, and they did have a top tier. I remember we went through the IMDb list, and they had like a top tier DOP. They had a top tier fight choreographer. There was a lot of things about the movie I really liked. I think it could have been better, but yeah, it's not a bad one. What's your rating out of 10?
You know what? Contextually, for what it was, the comic action movie that's self-aware and ironic, I'll give this one an 8 as well. It was consistently amusing. I was never bored during the entire 2 hour exactly runtime. It's exactly as long as it needs to be. Pacing is perfect. And it tells
what did you give this before? Do you remember?
I didn't watch it.
You didn't rate it. Anna, did you rate this before?
I haven't seen it either.
Oh, I wonder who was on that panel. Northern.
I have not seen The Wrecking Crew yet. No.
You'd like it.
Damn, I definitely had a panel with about 3 people on it, who none of whom liked the film, apart from me. So I'll have to go back and have a look. see who that was. That must have been the other the other shift. Northern, it's your go, buddy. What did you want to recommend this week?
Well, Toxic has mentioned this a while back a lot, but I've only just finally got around to watching it, and I'm on season 3 at the moment, and it is Burn Notice with Jeffrey Donovan, Bruce Campbell, and Gabrielle Anwar. I'm really enjoying this show, and for anyone who doesn't know, it's about a CIA agent called Michael Weston, who's apparently ends up blacklisted over something that he's innocent, so he's on burn notice right now, he's been banned. And now he's stuck in Miami with little resources. And the only thing he can do now is to do little jobs for people, like maybe an unlicensed private investigator, help anyone that's been threatened or has had money stolen from them, etc., with the help of Fiona, his former girlfriend, who's also a former IRA fighter, and his old ex-Navy SEALs buddy, Sam Axe, played by the legend that is Bruce Campbell. And I will say this, I just love the dynamic of these characters. And me and Toxic was, and Krista was doing a stream on Miami Vice 2006. And to be honest, this show is basically the closest we'll get to a 2000s Miami Vice, because we've got Miami setting, we've got a lot of sleaze and scumbags, and we've got these really good characters with this great dynamic. And I just love how Mike just can adapt and become a different character in order to sort of gain the confidence of the people that he's having to take on. And he's so convincing in the many different roles, from when he's playing an awkward nerd who's pretty much the type of person to get walked all over on. He changes his mannerisms, like he runs a little more dorky, and but if he's playing someone a bit more psychotic, he'll start wearing much more louder shirts and weird jewelry as well to get into character, and he does it so well. It's like the same actor is just playing different characters while still being consistent as this character. And Bruce Campbell, once again, is always on top form. He's a total arsehole, but he's there for his friends. He's definitely got a little bit of the Ash Williams in there that Bruce Campbell can play. And I love Fiona as well. She's a little bit nuts, but at the same time, she's very good at using her sexuality as well to
talking about Gabrielle Anwar.
Yeah, Gabrielle Anwar. Yeah. And this is his mum as well, who's kind of trying to keep him a little bit more grounded as well, to make sure he's not becoming a full-on sociopath, because he's still a bit too good at his job as well, to the point where he could be dehumanized. But
that's Michelle Pfeiffer's sister.
Is it? Oh yeah.
Yeah, Dee Pfeiffer. Yeah. The lesser known of the Pfeiffer sisters, but
she plays a very likable character. Though her daughter was a bit of a dumbass as well, getting into trouble when he told her to stay put. But yet, loads of good actors on there. Dutch from The Shield is on there twice so far.
Yeah.
We're going a bit further. I've not come on to this episode, but Dutch from The Shield is on it, and he is an arsehole in this show. He really is. He's a total arsehole. I've even seen Isaiah Morales as well from we saw in Miami Vice on there. I mean, loads of good actors. Look, there he is. Jay Carnes.
Yeah, I've been trying to get Jay Carnes to come on, and because he, implied that he might be interested at one stage, but unfortunately now he's vanished off Twitter, so I don't have comms with him anymore.
Man, that's so shame. That's such a shame as well.
Yeah, we used to follow each other, but when the Musk came on, loads of actors left Twitter in protest or whatever. I don't know, whatever. So sadly, but I really rate Jay Carnes. Love it. He's a brilliant actor. Very doesn't get used enough.
But I've got a question.
This is a really fun show, though. It really is. I mean, it's stylish as well. That's why I see it as a 2000s Miami Vice. It's very stylish.
It has a question for you. Is this your car? I think is the question.
Yes.
What's the question, Anna?
Oh, I've seen a couple of episodes out of order, and I wanted to ask, so is it episodic where it's focusing on like individual cases that he's coming across, or is the overall storyline him trying to figure out kind of what happened to him and why he's in this situation now?
It kind of is as well, but you can sort of watch it is mostly episodic, but it still just has that little bit of the overarching plot line of him trying to find out who burned him and how he can get his job back. But most of the time, you can still watch this in the background and still get what's happening. That's what I like about this. I mean, I was watching this while working, and you know what? I didn't feel lost on any episode whatsoever.
Neat.
Yeah. Moon Bloodgood.
Yeah, no, what happened to her? She was very good in this. She's so far. She's kind of like she kind of sees Weston as a bit of an that he's someone very dodgy about the same time. He's a real
wait,
there she is, and
this is the girl from Terminator Salvation, isn't she?
She's still looking bloody good to me. I mean, there we are.
Yeah, this was back in 2009.
That's 2009.
Yeah, so far she's looking good.
What did she do with De Niro? What's this? This is what just happened. Did I ever see
I heard about this. I heard about Bruce Willis kind of plays a very, very twisted version of himself in that movie. But
I remember her in Falling Skies. That was a good show.
Yeah, I'm only on the few episodes on season 3 though, but I'm really enjoying this show. I mean, it's so fun, and I'm very sad it passed me by a little bit, but at least I get to enjoy it now, and I get to enjoy all the episodes instead of waiting.
Well, Grave 1383 says it's good until the last season.
I'm still gonna go through it because I think it's given me enough good faith to carry on. Yeah, Bruce Campbell. Anything with Bruce Campbell is worth a watch. It is.
That's Gary Bolter from Outcast Australia.
Yeah, nice guy, man. Nice guy.
Yeah, absolutely outstanding gentleman, who I still haven't met yet because my plans to go to Australia this year were scuppered due to lack of finances. But hopefully one day he and I will get to meet. It's amazing that he's met other friends of mine who I've met, but we still haven't met yet, which is just bonkers. Burn Notice, okay, fantastic, good recommendation. Thank you. I've only seen season 1. I should probably go back and rewatch it at some stage. Now, on Wednesday, I may or may not be doing my interview with trance DJ Paul Webster. He had COVID, had to cancel 3 times because of COVID. And I did say, well, dude, if you're not telling me something, you've changed your mind. No. I definitely want to do the interview, but yeah, I can't. He didn't have a voice basically. So I'm hoping that I'll be chatting to him this Wednesday, but until he confirms on the day, it's unsure. So we shall see. But unsure until that time. Yeah, but this weekend, Easter weekend, there's no less than 3 raves for me to go to. Probably just going to make 2 of those. We shall see. But looking forward to seeing some friends that I haven't seen for a while at one of them. So fantastic, Enzo. What you got coming up?
Well, like I said, it's Easter, so Wednesday's We Watch, I think, is going to be Prehysteria. Again, we're releasing that one, the one where the little boy finds the little eggs full of dinosaurs. It's a very stupid.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
It'll be a full-length commentary for now. I might have to, delete it someday and edit it, but for now, I think it'll stay up full-length. And also Easter, I think I'm going to do a We Watch on Thursday where we're going to do my Big Fat Obnoxious Boss marathon. And then Sunday, we're going to do a bunch of Easter stuff on the show, Tales from the Dorkside. We're going to do a ultimate chocolate tier list. We're going to watch a bunch of retro chocolate commercials. We're going to have funny Jesus cartoons playing. The works, a bunch of Easter stuff. I can't remember. I saved a lot of stuff to watch. Yeah, April Fool's Day is tomorrow. Hell yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna say I'm re-releasing releasing Time Cop or Forest Warrior finally, and then just re-release Prehysteria instead. That'll be funny. Good call.
Okay. Fantastic. Northern, have you got anything you want to plug coming up?
Well, I'm going to be taking Friday Bastards Breakdowns off for Good Friday and Miami Vice off for Sunday as well. So I'll be back on the 10th of April to talk True Romance with Toxic. Who else have I got on the list for? I've got the thumbnail now. Let me get it up. People, I get my fucking guess sometimes. I do apologise because I get a lot of people asking them. So yeah, True Romance on the 10th of April, and that should be a good one. And I think next week the week after will be 18/20/10 because I think that's one of Toxic recommending, and I think I might go back to that one. I did have fun, but I'm looking for more requests and more guests that want to pop on later on as well. So let me know. Do let me know.
Okay, fabulous. We've just got time for Anna's archaeological fact of the week.
I don't have one this week. Oh my goodness!
I have one. Otherwise, that's not a feature on the show. Just got to have one.
I'm sorry.
Never mind. It's all right. Next week we'll start a new feature called Admiral Teague's Spaceship of the Week.
No, I just completely forgot to get you an archaeological fact. I'm so sorry.
I have noticed an increasing trend of late. I don't know if other people have seen this. There's a huge amount of material, both on YouTube and just generally in the news. Again, the UFO narrative is being pushed to a great degree. And I do, we've got Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day coming up. I don't know if anyone's looking forward to seeing that. That's released in a few weeks, I think. Is it May? I think it's coming out in May. So I'm hoping we're being prepped for some kind of news about aliens soon. If so, we'll definitely be talking about it on this channel because I like doing streams about UFOs. Also, we have the manned mission to the moon. They're not landing on the moon, though. They're just going to the moon. They're going to go round the moon, and then they're going to come back.
My brother and I were actually thinking of going down to see the Artemis launch when it was going to be in February, but then my brother's daughter was born a bit early, so we didn't go. And good thing we didn't because it's been postponed. Will it actually happen this time? I really hope so. The weather will be good. But yes, they are orbiting the moon, slingshotting the moon and then coming back. They're not landing.
And then the next mission after is the one where they're going to be landing. Here it is on the landing pad. Hopefully this won't turn into an episode of Thunderbirds and the mission will be successful and the crew will come back safe and well. They've only got a launch window of, I think it's about 4 or 5 days from now. So they've got to launch within that window. Otherwise, no joy. Rerun of Apollo 9. No, hopefully not. So looking forward to that. Admiral Teague, anything you want to plug before we go?
I'll be on in about 4.5 hours at 9:30 U.S. Eastern Time for my weekly talk show. I'm usually on Tuesdays and Thursdays and Saturday nights. Join me at 9 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, where we're doing episodic Star Trek reviews, one episode at a time, and we have the best Star Trek show and the longest now running that I know of on YouTube. Yeah, join us.
That's great.
We're finishing up Enterprise now.
Shout out to Antiderivative Jill as well, who loves doing her Star Trek stuff. That might be where we met. I think, did we meet on Jill's channel, Admiral T? I forget.
I think someone put us into a creators
group. Okay.
I think Jacob Ironside may have been the person who introduced
us. Yeah. We met on Ironside. I've been on Ironsides a couple of times.
Great guy.
Love the Ironside. Okay, well, thanks very much for everyone. Thank you to my guests, Stupenzo, who was on Texan Time. Always a pleasure. Great to see Northern Bastards. Blue Collar Loser was going to come on today. I don't know what happened to him. Great to see Admiral T and, of course, Anna. We will be back next Tuesday, I think at the regular time of 9 p.m. UK time, whatever the changes may or may not have been. In terms of homework for shows to watch next week, I'm not aware of anything imminent that's sort of particularly grabbing my attention. Do we have recommendations from anyone on the panel?
Nothing I think of, to be honest. It looks like it's going a bit quiet out there when it comes to releases.
There's always
you'll find something. I figure. I woke up this morning to find 2 more pieces of homework that needed to be watched before the show, so you'll find something.
Doesn't Super Mario Galaxy comes out this weekend, doesn't it?
It sure does.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm very excited for that.
Yeah, I don't care either, but I mean, there's always big shit happening. Scream 7, Wuthering Heights, these are hitting digital. Yeah, I guess Mario's the big thing this weekend.
All right.
It's gonna make a lot of money.
Rachel Ziegler could just turn on her phone and give us all a story any minute.
Well, that's also true. Although I'd much rather talk about films and shows than Rachel Ziegler any day of the week. That's
I love when people are shocked that a young 20-year-old girl says something stupid. It's like, yeah, they
from New Jersey, no less. Yeah,
it's kind of on brand. You can't be that upset at her. I mean, she's gonna say some stupid shit.
All right, everyone. Well, we'll wrap it up there. But thanks again for everyone in the chat as well with your comments and things. We've had quite an active chat tonight. We've had quite a nice audience online tonight, so it's been good. We will see you all again real soon. Bye.